Yo yo yo, what's up, bird brain gamers, guys and gals, women, men, and people of all ages. Uh, so here's like the stream summary and shit. We did quite a bit, quite a bit today. Um, Made quite a bit of progress. So here we are. I'll show you what I got. Boom, OBS. That's what I got now. So. This is mainly kind of a lot of like programming jargon and stuff, but we've organized our what's it called, hierarchy. We've organized the project a little bit better. So yeah, so we've got engine, the default stuff, my stuff, input system, random PNGs. Okay, so I've organized my scripts a lot more. It's all in this nice kind of format here. Enemies, player, UI, and background. BG stands for background. Not the hit band, the BGs, but background, you see. Game instance. Yeah, we've just got a game instance out in the open, you know. Running wild. Going commando out here. No underwear, no nothing. But yeah. So then we've got our prefabs over here. I should probably just organize this a little bit more, but we've got enemy controller, player controller. So, you know, just like a controlling ex-girlfriend, we're going to have our controller. So for example, for the enemies, you'll have this thing which is basically in charge of all the enemies, and like it'll spawn them in and configure them. It'll spawn them in and configure them. It'll determine whether the enemy is gonna have like spline based movement, or if I'm gonna try and learn how to do some fancy like swarm based AI, which I'm probably gonna try to do. So we'll see how successful I am with that. But on it, I'm so excited to try and learn some of that. I don't know if I'll have to get into the Unity dot system. It's like data oriented. Something or other, but it's basically makes stuff more efficient and like data oriented, because essentially game development in general is object oriented. Like you have your object, and you know, like you have your object, like a game object here, which is the player, and then you'll have a bunch of components that are attached to it, like transform, rigid body, box collider, etc. Which are all kind of contained within this. But in data-oriented programming, I believe it's kind of like the objects are kind of just like containers, which are basically pointless, and they just have lots of components. So that was a bad explanation. Essentially, in but do I really want to go over all this? Whatever. So object oriented, you have a bunch of things that are that kind of go hand in hand with it. There's a bunch of principles. You've got abstraction. Object oriented. Well, okay, object oriented programming should probably go above all that. So you've got object oriented programming. If anybody actually watches this, they're going to correct me immediately, because this is such a scuffed thing. But you've got abstraction, inheritance, and abstraction, inheritance, and like polymorphism. Of course, polymorphism. So basically what this means is abstraction is essentially making things as simple as possible, and making things kind of act on their own. So like you want, for example, so I've tried to do this in this script, like enemy controller, all this is spawns enemies and configures enemies. So initially I was going to have one function to spawn and configure an enemy, but because I wanted to abstract it, I I separated them out into these two different functions essentially, just to make things easier. Inheritance, you kind of want things to inherit from each other. So for example, like in like a Mario game, right, you would have so with this, right, you would have, so Mario would be like here. Okay, so the base class would be character, and then Mario would be like a character, but so would a Goomba. Cool. Yeah, so essentially you have your base character, and then these things kind of inherit from them. And then polymorphism is just everything kind of acts as its own thing. But a polymorphism is like many forms, so you can inherit from things, and I always get a bit slightly stumped at polymorphism. I think that's basically, polymorphism is like virtual functions. So you can have so character can have some like a function called move. It'll have like a function called move. I don't know why I'm going over all this. I mean, this is just a bloody fucking... It's not really a tutorial, it's a fucking devlog, but whatever. So it'll have this function called move, where you can move, and then so Mario, you can move either way when you press a button, or jump or something, but the Goomba can only move left and right. So this will override funky moves. Yeah, so basically polymorphism is essentially many forms. So you've got this one function move, but Goomba overrides it and only makes you move left or right. Mario also overrides it, and essentially makes it so you can, jump up and down, and you have to press keys to move and stuff. Essentially, well, that's essentially polymorphism. But data-oriented stuff is basically it's a lot different. You just have, so this would be Mario. See, I don't know. Actually, I don't know how well I actually understand this really. But you have, so Mario is a container, and essentially it has many different containers within it. But the actual container Mario means nothing. So it would essentially be like, it wouldn't actually inherit anything from character. Yeah, essentially it's like data-oriented processing, so it makes it easier for like swarm-based systems, because it doesn't treat any of them as a single entity. Like, for example, if you've got a swarm of enemies, right, and each of them are like a character, like you have each of these are Goombas, that's going to be extremely memory intensive. So essentially what swarm-based AI does, and the Unity dot system as far as I'm aware, essentially just like only gets like one or two components of these, and kind of utilizes them as a part of like getting the entire thing. So you'd have like all these fucking characters, and each character has like a fuck ton of functionality to it. Like it's got its sprite, it's got its movement, it's got physics, like all those physics calculations that are being calculated every second. instead of getting all that, it's just utilizing one of them. It's basically, yeah, data oriented. It's basically, it's a different style of programming than object oriented. Honestly, as you can tell from my random explanation here, I still don't know too much about it. I mean, I've got the idea, but yeah. So I might be looking into that and having a look into swarm-based systems. Anyway, that is a massive rant. I don't know why I went over that, but here we go. Yeah, so I've sorted out my script a little bit more. We've got our enemies. Essentially, I was playing with scriptable objects in Unity. So scriptable objects are essentially data containers. So you can see how I'm starting to go into this like data-oriented style. I've never used scriptable objects before, but they are pretty damn cool. They're cool. They're pretty damn cool. Cool as a cucumber. Cool as ice. You know what I'm saying. God. Anyway, it's Halloween. Yeah. So we have our controller. Essentially, our controller is a game object, so it's not a scriptable object. But we have, yeah. So it's a game object, and our controller is going to have a reference to our enemy. It's going to have a reference to a list of enemy types, and it's going to have a reference to our data handler. Now, what an enemy type is in this context is, I'll show you. An enemy type is literally just this. It is a list of words, a list of strings, keywords. So I've got 3 at the moment: spline mover, pig sprite, and default sprite. So basically, how this is going to work is there's going to be a bunch of different combinations. So there's going to be different types of enemies, like that have different movement styles and movement patterns, and they're going to have different keywords. So maybe there'll be a spline mover up and down. Maybe there'll be an enemy that moves in a star shape. So that'll be another keyword, star shaped mover or something. And I'll just add it to this, and essentially it'll be like I can have a bunch of different enemy combinations, and it'll be really, really damn cool, essentially. So yeah, so what happens is this spawns the enemy in, this spawn enemy function, and then get a random spawn position. It's just a chat GPT thing, just returns a random position, spawns it in a random place, and then configure enemy instance. So this goes. So selected set. So I get one of those random enemy types, and then I pass it into my data handler with the enemy instance and the keywords. So this is like essentially I'm just like randomizing enemy types. I feel like this is a very kind of jumbled episode, but whatever. So yeah, apply configurations. So we've got our enemy and the keywords you want to apply to it. So essentially my enemies are just going to be like empty containers. There's going to be nothing on them. And then you'll just have a bunch of keywords, and it'll be like, okay, it's going to be a pig, it's going to be a spaceship, and it's going to move this way, it's going to have this much health and that. And so here we go. So apply configurations for each keyword. If it's a spline mover, add a spline mover script. If it's a pig sprite, add a pig image to it. If it's a default image, add the default image to it then. Boom. There we go. Hopefully that was fairly congruent. Hopefully that was fairly easy to follow. And it wasn't just me rambling the entire time about stuff. But yeah, anyway, my buddy. Okay, Nathan keeps telling me to say this, and I keep forgetting, but I've remembered this time. Boom! I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch.tv. Wait, actually, let me go full cam. Yo, okay, this is fucked. My light bulb has broken. But anyway, see this is why you guys need to subscribe right now. You guys literally need to subscribe so I can keep the lights on in here, because we're in tough times right now. You guys have got to subscribe right bloody now, okay? But yeah, so I stream on Twitch. Boom. You can be the first follower, you know? You can be the bloody first follower. What a fucking honor. Like when I'm fucking up there, when I've got a milli subscribers, you won't be seeing me no more unless you were the first subscriber, and then you may end up being a millionaire. Once I'm a multi-billionaire, you, my first subscriber friend, will get my first million. How amazing is that? And all you need to do is click on a bunch of pixels in the fucking on a fucking website, okay? You need to click a red button. How easy, how amazing is that? You're also burning a few calories, so you know, weight loss journey, you can start it right now and click the subscribe button. Also, if you want to be extra awesome, follow the Twitch, because we're going to be doing some more wacky unhinged streams. The last stream, because I'm fucking insane if you can't already tell now. Like my friend Nathan's gonna have to edit out half of this shit, but I'm fucking insane. The last stream I did, I literally just played the entire Mad Max movie theme song the entire time. It was weirdly cool. Like, some parts in the movie that were like cathartic in the actual movie were actually kind of cathartic in the stream. I was like, oh, okay, I can change this variable name, and it was like, boom, you know, the scene where you've got the blind guy shooting at people on the motorcycle, no, he wasn't on a motorcycle, he was on a dirt truck, but you know what I mean, the blind guy with the AK-47 shooting everyone. That part in the soundtrack was like me changing, you know, having a eureka moment and changing a variable, or doing something, I don't know. Anyway, God, just fucking subscribe, okay? Boom, peace. Have a good one. Have a nice day. Ciao.